When so many of us have trouble getting our sorry asses to the gym, what or who inspired you, Norm, to start running at 68?
Oh, well, I was doing exercise, walking and so forth, and the more you do, the easier it gets. And it was getting to the point where it was just so easy, I wasn't getting anything out of it. So I had to step it up a bit. So I started sprinting and entered into a race and just went uphill from there. Simple as that. And I was 68 when I started. I'm 82 now, by the way. And what, 2 weeks ago, I broke the BC record for the 100-meter dash. And I was 0.2 of a second off the Canadian record. So I figured I'll try and catch that one the next time.
If Madeline's right, if Madeline's right, you were dead last in your first race.
Absolutely, dead last. I mean, there was no argument. That was terrible.
Has it been life-changing for you, running?
Oh yeah, I mean, I started out with high blood pressure. I got my heartbeat down to the point at rest, I'm under 50. And when I run now, to warm up, I might run 15, 20 flights of stairs. Not running, walking. And it's all I can do. I mean, I'm breathing heavy from going up the stairs, breathing real heavy. But the heart doesn't come up. The heartbeat doesn't come up. It just, it sustains it. I mean, I've really got to run hard to get the heart to come up now. It's a real hassle.
I'm sure. Well, I just have to walk up the stairs. Way easier.
So our diet, in terms of dis-ease in this society, is huge. And so we need to really pay attention to that, and I've become aware of that through this renal diet, which is not too bad, actually. And so how do you deal with your diet, exercise, all that kind of stuff?
Exercise can be a problem. You've seen a bodybuilder. You can imagine what people can do to their bodies as a bodybuilder. Huge muscles, but if it's done wrong, imagine the damage you could do. Imagine when I joined our club a few years back. We're all senior sprinters, and we turned out to win. That was it. We were addicted runners, out to win. So our point was, we were running 100 meters. It's 100 meters, and that's it. We were focused on running from here to here. But we trained for that. So we trained to run. Only that. I mean, there was a lot of side things going on, but basically A to B, fast as you can. Bang, we all end up with injuries. What we have to do is we have to get over that. We have to be able to incorporate exercise. For me to go out and win a race, I can't win it on 99% of my muscle. It takes all of it. So I have to incorporate my training to use every muscle I got and as much as I possibly can, so that when I run, I've got them all working together. Not just part of them, all of them. And the ones you don't use, you get hurt. And this is a lot of the problems with some of these places, like where I live. And the woman comes down and she gets on the rudder, and she runs 3-4 times a day, a week, and she'll run for maybe an hour. Never goes any faster, never goes any slower, never uses another machine, and eventually she's going to get hurt. Simple. So you want to, if any of you are thinking about it, go out and walk, and then use as many. I never do the same exercise twice. One day I'll do one day I'll run stairs, the next day I'll run outside. I'll jog. I spend 20 to 25 minutes stretching my muscles after I've warmed them up by running up and down the stairwell.
But are there people who tell you, Norm?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh.
But the main thing as you age is getting over what other people think. whether you sing or run or talk in front of, or get what?
Get well.
Or get well, all of that, finding your path or the way to get there, and to not worry, to be one of the, as Jack Kerouac said, one of the mad ones. And if you're not naturally a mad one, how do you get there?
For me, it's been a lifelong process of what I want in life, and my goal is to have high-level wellness and to be able to do whatever it is that I want to do, whether Norm wants to do 100-yard dash and do all that kind of stuff, and whether just the goal is to be able to move around, feel energetic and alive and interested, engage in relationships. I think one of the things about vitality, that the number one key thing is relationship. And you mentioned that, Norm, that you've got all these people that you hang out with and talk with, and I'm sure share stories with, and all that kind of stuff, which is an important aspect of vitality. But to me, vitality is being able to do the things that I would like to do for me in my life. Well, I think for people to find your passion at a young age and keep in touch with that. I used to work with companies, and for example, Air Canada. What they were finding was that their pilots, after retirement, they were dead within 4 or 5 years because they didn't have anything else to do. And also, one of the things to retirement is kind of dangerous to your health as well, because people tend to think, okay, now I don't have anything to do, and I don't have any friends. And this is particularly true of men who don't have male friends to talk about anything that's going on with. And so we have to start that at a younger age, and particularly because we're living longer these days. The average length of a lifetime for people in the late 1800s was about 50, right? And so we've gradually increased that, and we are extending our life. So our job, should we choose to take the assignment, is to extend what is valuable to me.
A lot of times what I find is I ask people the question, well, what did you love to do when you were young? And whether it's, well, I just love to paint, or I love to be outside hiking, or I love to be in the garden, or I used to sing and love it. To me, those are some of the clues as to what we can bring back in our life. I've had many people come and say, well, I used to sing and I loved it, but I didn't have time, and now I'm making time for me.
Sure, I remember the story. It's an Oprah type story where somebody asked one of her guests what she loves to do, and she said, I love to talk to people and drink coffee. Great. So she said, go to an island, a Gulf island, whatever, start a coffee shop. So there was a way for her to do exactly what she loved to do. It's no deeper than that.
Think if you go back home tonight and look at your photograph when you were 20 years old, well, except for Stefan, that would be yesterday, and take a look at yourself, and then look in the mirror and see the changes. Going to experience body, lots of history, some development of wisdom. And I think one of the difficulties with people developing the vitality is we resist the change that we need to make. And that because we're changing all the time, we just often don't recognize it. And so to embrace that change, it's difficult as it is. I have difficulty with change. I like things to be predictable and all that kind of stuff. But if we look back in terms of what you were talking about with children, in their vitality and aliveness, it's in their singing, it's something that we go back to. So we all have these things that we can go back to as a reference point to reconnect with our vitality. So through singing, you probably had something in your background that would sort of find this juice to run.
What did you do, Norm, before you were a world-class sprinter?
I owned a bar for a while.
You owned a
bar.
A bar?
Neighborhood pub.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
See?
I went from that.
I grew up on a bar stool. Out at your pub.
So you're in a bar, and now you're with a group of people who are getting juiced high on running, a different kind of way of being energized, right? So you got that in your background. it you
Oh,
may
yeah,
tap into
that worked out pretty good.
So many things are done online, and people were saying, oh, you should do an online singing, and it's like, no, something happens when people gather.
Sure.
And over the years, I've seen 40 people show up to help someone move, and something happens when they're connected, and people start to show their vulnerability a little bit and get real. People find lots of good friends there. I think we need that. I think those quotes that say, dance like nobody's watching, sing like nobody's listening, and live each day as if it were your last. I know for me, when I was young, one of my family members died, and the gift of that was that I really have lived my life with that deep knowingness of that there's mortality, and that someone could walk out the door and not come back. And it's made me have a lot of gratitude for the people around me. And I think that that's what's important, is that we know it's impermanent.
Sure, and fear of change is a big thing too.
So the challenge would be for each of us, after leaving here today, is to think of one thing that we could stop doing that's going to free something within us so we can tap back into our vitality. Because I think what happens over time, and I've often said this to clients as I'm working with them, if we don't say or do things that are really important to us and give us juice and for which we are energized, it's kind of like carrying a gunny sack, and we put a brick in this gunny sack every day. And then, you know, over a number of years, we get really tired. And I don't know how many of you had the experience, but of you know, doing a major change and feeling the rush of doing something differently, even though it may be incredibly frightening. It may come in a crisis that we experienced that we didn't ask for, but it arrived, or a crisis that we initiated by getting married, getting divorced, doing something different, speaking up in a group like this.
What we say holds a lot. I remember I always used to, people would say, can I get you anything, meaning milk or juice? And I would be, yes, a black Yamaha grand piano, please. And they would laugh. And then about 5 years later, I was doing my first little concert, my first instrumental CD at my piano, my classical piano teacher's house, to get some feedback. And this guy pops onto the piano bench beside me and says, we've got a $50,000 black Yamaha grand. My wife has died. I don't want to sell it. We've heard you play. Would you take it? I still have it.
How great. That's a fabulous story.
Okay, so one of the songs that I'm going to sing tonight is called Words of Gratitude, and the part where everybody sings along, because we're going to, if you want to sing, sing with, because I'll just sing and then you can sing with me. And it says like this: fill me with gratitude. Want to try it? It feels good. Fill me with gratitude. Fill me up with gratitude. Fill me with gratitude. That's your part. Give it a shot. Fill me with gratitude for all the friends around me. Fill me with gratitude. I'm so glad you found me. Fill me with gratitude. I got the love